It is my great pleasure. If you guys have seen the new movie, The Battle of the Sexes, it is phenomenal. I would suggest everyone go see it, even though you know how it ends. It's full of drama, it's full of great characters, it's full of humor, and also just a lot of compassion. So let's watch a little of Battle of the Sexes before Patty Sellers and I talk to Billie Jean King.
It's not going to happen.
As Billie Jean once said, we should never, ever underestimate the human spirit. We honor what she calls all of the off-the-court stuff to change how women athletes and women everywhere view themselves, and to give everyone, regardless of gender or sexual orientation, including my two daughters, a chance to compete both on the court and in life.
I don't think that it's a stretch to say that Billie Jean King is the single most important person in the history of women's sports.
She's been the biggest influence in my life outside my family.
She wanted more for not only women in sports, to give them an opportunity to come and play on equal terms, but also the way we guys look at women now in the boardroom. Nobody gave it more than Billie Jean King.
Among the many things I find so impressive about Billie is her steady and frankly lifelong dedication to challenging and changing things that most people would just accept. Her honesty, courage for doing the right thing, but definitely not the easy thing.
Billie Jean always says this: champions adapt, and pressure is a privilege.
I really wanted to start getting the hearts and minds of people to get in alignment with this idea of equal opportunities and rights for men and women.
Along with her being so revolutionary, she's so important to me because I wouldn't be able to play on the WTA Tour without her.
What makes her such a role model to all of us is that she has never veered from her core values.
In '74, Larry and I were involved in forming World Team Tennis. We have men and women on the same team, and that's what I want the world to look like.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Great.
So we have to thank Billie very much for being with us, because she's been a little busy lately. She and Alana Kloss, her partner in business and in life, just came in from London. So you were with us last night and yesterday. So thanks for being here.
It's wonderful. We love coming. Every year we can make it. We really make an effort because, first of all, it's great to reconnect with a lot of you and also meet new people and just network and connect.
It was so funny, Maggie, backstage, Billie was giving color commentary on the clip from her movie. And
somebody was asking me.
And the scene with Jack Kramer talking about men being faster and stronger. And
actually, they are.
You still get a visceral reaction when you hear Jack Kramer speak, don't
Actually,
you?
we made amends in 1984 at the, Chancellor Young, UCLA Chancellor. The Olympics were in Los Angeles in '84. So we sat next to each other, and he changed because he had a granddaughter.
Oh.
That changed everything. Because I wanted to make amends with him anyway. I'm very big on that, and then keep moving forward. And so I sat next to him. They said, would you sit next to Jack? I go, I'd like to. And everyone went, the whole table was like, uh-oh, what's going to happen?
You know, that's actually something that I notice a lot with you, and just watching now Battle of the Sexes sort of reaffirmed it, which is you have this, is it empathy for people who have treated you badly? I mean, even Bobby Riggs, who was so chauvinist, and maybe it was an act, but maybe he did feel that way, who's to know? But you always seem to handle him with kind of a...
Oh, I enjoyed him because he was one of my heroes. He was #1 in the world. In 1939, he won the singles, doubles, and mixed at Wimbledon. And then the World War II came along, and he never got the attention that he craved. He was #1 in the world in the 40s, and people didn't know that. So here was his chance to finally, everybody knows who I am. And he was always a gambler, hustled, so he always wanted to make deals. He's always wanted to be in the action. So I understood him, and I love entertainment anyway. I love entertainment.
What is your, I mean, Billie, I think you have and you can teach us a lot about working against our, making progress against our kind of, enemies is the wrong word, but you know, we opened this morning with a panel on gun control and how to reach across the aisle and just for sides to come together who don't understand each other. So in fighting for equal pay for women in sports, what are the couple of guidelines that you can pass on that might be able to help us make progress in the coming decades in the area of equal pay in other areas?
Well, first of all, you don't take anything personally. That's number one. If you do that, you're finished. You're done. So you might as well give it up. So don't take anything personally. They're talking about how they feel and what they think. It's not about you. It's them. So I'm very big on that. And then also, how can I expect someone to respect me if I don't respect them? Like there's a couple of male players, nobody respects me. Well, I'll tell you why they don't respect you. You don't respect anybody. You have to respect others, no matter, it's the human race. We have to respect each other. It's really difficult though. I mean, my dad was a firefighter and he used to talk about guns. Never, ever have a gun near you in the home. I don't care if it's locked. Children find a way to get into it. My dad every day would come home with stories like that someone had just been killed in the home or domestic abuse. He said, they're just no good. And boy, was he right. And how can this country have over half of the guns in this country? We're only 4.4% of the population. It's scary. Anyway, I don't know, but I think sports can bring people together, but also can create dialogue like with the NFL. It's creating dialogue. It's good to have dialogue. It's good to talk things out. Get it on top of the table, not under the table.
So Maggie,
we don't have to agree, but we have to get on top.
We started with Indra Nui yesterday, and I asked Indra about, Pepsi is a big supporter of the NFL and teams in the NFL, and Maggie, you...
Yeah, I was just really surprised. It kind of crystallized it because this is something that I cover every day. And what she said was 5 to 7 years ago, there was a moral code, but now you can't be afraid to offend any of your customers. And I thought, oh, this actually crystallizes it so much. I think that if we look at the NFL and we look at what's happening with the player protests, I think if we don't follow the money, we're going to be missing out on sort of how we can, what the real bottom line is of this. And I'm just curious from your point of view, Billie, is this a negotiation? I mean, it's so draped in patriotism and there's a lot of emotion involved, but at the end of the day, is this a negotiation? And if so, how can the players use that to their advantage? How can they get what they want?
They are using it because we're having dialogue around it, and this is their one and only platform, a lot of them. This is it. When I was 12 years old and had my epiphany that I wanted to help fight for equality the rest of my life, I knew I had a chance because tennis is a global sport, and I would have a platform. And that's what's happening with the NFL. This is where they have their platform. Otherwise, nobody's going to listen to them. And also, it's been peaceful. It's been peaceful. That's what this country is about. We don't have to agree with them. I wouldn't do it the way Kaepernick did it, but that doesn't matter. I have to respect. He was peaceful. And they're right. Let's face it. Men of color, especially when they're young, are just treated so badly. I mean, they're incarcerated too often. I agree with them on a lot of things. So I would have kneeled, gotten up, and I don't know, go ahead. Yeah, I mean.
So when you hear about team owners, saying they're going to bench players who kneel, what do you think?
I don't know what their contract is, but I think if I were an owner, I'd say, you do what you need to do, but I'd appreciate it if you'd stand for the anthem, because I think that just takes care of the people who are against them. Because it's not, the flag doesn't, some people have made it about the veterans, the military, and that's not what they're saying. Many of these NFL players have family in the military. Yeah. So they're not saying that. So just calm down, everybody. But you can have dialogue about it. Let's face it, people of color still aren't getting a fair shake. They're just not. You look at the salaries that women make. Women of color always make the least. It's not right. And we have to bring in our women of color sisters. We have to do that. We have to support them. Althea Gibson changed my life when I was 13. I got to see her. She was the first person of color ever to win a major in our sport. She's our Jackie Robinson of tennis. Nobody hears about her because she's a woman. If she'd been a guy, it would have made a much bigger deal. And it gets me crazy. So I'm trying to get something done for her at the U.S. Open. I want something to remember her by. But she changed my life. I saw her when I was 13, and if you can see it, you can be it. I didn't know what it looked like to be number one. I wanted to be number one in the world. What does that look like? How good is that? I saw her and I go, wow, I'm going to have to really work hard if I want to be number one. And every generation does get better. So I'm like, at least that's what my dad and mom taught me, and they're right. So I go, okay, I have to even be better in this? Oh my God, that's unbelievable. So here's a little white girl being totally influenced by a woman of color. Because people, every single person is an influencer. You never know, and I've said this before, you never know how someone's going to touch your life or how you're going to touch their life. And that's why it's important to be alert as we go through life. It just is important. Pay attention, right?
Let's open it up to the audience. Who has a question? Jewel is up front. Yes, okay.
I'd love to talk to you more about your message of tolerance, something I find frustrating. I have a fan base that's probably pretty equally split, conservative and liberal, which I love, and I enjoy that because I talk about tolerance, and we have to be able to accept other viewpoints. And so I constantly am talking to my fan base, my liberal fans, about if you want to be accepted, why do you think it's a one-way street? Why aren't you accepting the other side? And why aren't you getting to know them? So why do we have such a hard time with this issue of respect and what actual tolerance is? Can you define tolerance for people in the room of what it means to respect somebody's viewpoint, even if they're not tolerating your own, and how you find that kind of kindness, where that comes from, and the idea of not taking it personally?
I think you said it, Jewel. It's where it's coming from, your heart, and understanding that not everyone's going to agree. The most important thing is we can sit down and listen to each other. Even if we diametrically are opposed, somehow you have to understand this is a person who's had different experiences than we have, or if you're liberal, and try to understand their side of it. I know people on both sides, and the really far right and the far left. I'm more down the middle, but you know, it's a big shot in tennis. You got to hit it up the middle. That's really the most important thing. If you notice the pro matches, it's really important to get that first shot, the return up the middle. Cuts the angle on. I think about that because I use sports analogies and things every single day in my business and in life, and it really works. I think we have to be tolerant, but I think we have to really listen to them and go away and think about what they said. Even if you don't agree with it, think about it. You might at least try to see their side of it.
Who else has a question? Yes,
but I think
back
it's
here.
acceptance, really. I think it's love of others.
Hi, Allison Schneiderov. What do the women on the tour think of the Laver Cup? And do you see sort of a Solheim Cup coming for women on tennis, or will?
No, we already have a Solheim. We have the Fed Cup.
But that's
Federation
the Davis Cup equivalent. So I'm saying now that we've done Laver Cup.
Well, team tennis is here's my dream for team tennis, which is equal men and women on a team, on a level playing field, which you saw a little quick there. We had our 42nd season this last summer. We just sold the majority of it to Mark Ein, who lives in D.C. and owns the Washington Castles. I've always wanted a World Cup since the 60s, and I want it co-ed, though. I want men and women equally on a team. I want children to see men and women equal by our teams. And we've always been ahead. We're always a little ahead. But people are starting to catch up. And Federer did the Laver Cup to honor Rod Laver, because that was his hero in tennis. But I wish he had done the women, too, if you really want to know. We need togetherness. We need to be together. We're all in this. Just like we need men to help us get equal pay for equal work. Because there's a lot more CEOs are men than women. If they would just automatically say we're going to do it, like Mark Benioff of Salesforce, he just did it.
Yeah.
You can do it. They can do it. They need to step up. The men and all women CEOs, men and women CEOs, need to step up and just make it happen. They have to do it. They have to lead. It's called leading.
Billie, what is the Billie Jean King Leadership Institute? We have a minute?
Initiative. We need to do it. The Billie Jean King Leadership Initiative is exactly about getting equal pay and equal work in the workplace. It's about authenticity. It's about purpose. It's about flexibility, because the millennials, we know, Deloitte did a survey over a couple of years, 3 years, and we know that's what they want. They want inclusion. The millennials, we know they're going to be 75% of the working force in 2025. That's what we're going to deal with. And then the Gen Z. And I want those two generations, when they watch the battle of the sexes, to get fire in their belly to fight for freedom and equality forever. And that means in the workplace, in family, in every phase of life. That's why I hope the movie touches their hearts and minds to take up the mantle and really fight for freedom and equality, because that's what we need if the world, and every generation has to start over and do this.
The movie is fantastic. It is fantastic. Thank you for all you do and all you will do in the next couple of decades.
We're not ready, kids.
Billie
We're
Jean.
not finished, right, kids? All right, thanks so much, everyone. It's been great seeing you.